We teamed up with CapCut to make this insane retro sci-fi trailer using AI for every shot. If you want to see the full trailer, click here. Then you can come back to this video afterwards where we're going to show you exactly how we did it so you can do it too. Let's go. The first thing we created was the narration. We wanted a retro sci-fi vibe, so we wrote a script that perfectly encapsulated the world we created for Soul Killer. We then went to 11 Labs and chose the Atom voice, which was perfect for that classic sci-fi style.
It is said that long ago, the galaxy was once a peaceful and prosperous place.
We added some vocal effects to make it sound old and slightly distorted, as well as some echo and reverb to maximize the delivery of the final line.
That man is Soul Killer.
Then we created a new project inside CapCut on desktop and dropped it in. The next thing we created was the music. We almost always make the music before we do anything else, especially with trailers, because we often use it as the backbone of the entire thing. We wanted a piece that felt right at home between Michael Giacchino's revamped Star Trek theme from the 2009 reboot and other retro 60s mid-century modern pieces like the theme from Lupin III, A Woman Called Fujiko Mine. Once we had the Soul Killer theme completed, we dropped it into our timeline in CapCut so it started right after the narration. Then it was on to placeholders. Every time we do a project, we do some sort of pre-visualization, whether it's full-on previs, storyboards, animatics, or most often just placeholders. We actually edit the entire project before we start shooting, or in this case, before we created the AI-generated shots. We typically do this in two ways. One is just adding text to the timeline of what each shot is going to be, and the other is actually adding placeholder images to give us a clearer idea of what the shots will look like. You can do this by using film stills from other projects as placeholders, or you can just create a sort of moving storyboard or animatic by generating images on Midjourney and dropping those into your timeline where you want them to go. This will save you a ton of time by making sure you don't get or make shots you don't need, and it'll also help you have a crystal clear idea of what your project will look like early on so you can make adjustments as necessary before getting too deep into it. Next, it was time to create all the AI imagery. This part took the longest because we wanted every shot to be great. We hopped into Midjourney and started prompting away. There's a few example prompts down in the description if you want to try them out yourself. Many of the shots we just upscaled using PixelCut, but for a lot of them we wanted to widen the shots, remove things, or add things, so we brought them into Photoshop Beta to use Generative Fill. If you click the crop tool and extend the boundaries to any size you want your image to be, then click Generate, it will create that for you with a few different options. And you can generate as many times as you need to get what you're looking for. You can also press the Select tool, then draw a box around something, click Generative Fill, and type in what you want, like remove person or another prompt, and it will remove, add, or replace things in your scene. Once we had all our images, we either drop them into the timeline above their respective placeholders or prep them for VFX. This is the main difference that really helps take the project to another level. We didn't want to just drop in a bunch of stale images completely devoid of movement into our project and just cut them together, so we added a ton of movement to the shots, from simulated camera moves in fog to VFX assets like explosions and meteors. A great way to simulate camera movement is to just keyframe your clip's position. Click on an image clip, drag the timeline marker to the beginning of that clip, and set a keyframe on the scale. Then move to the end of the clip, increase the scale a little bit, and it should automatically set another keyframe. When you play it back, the camera will look like it's slowly zooming or tracking in. Or alternatively, you can increase the scale in an image, and in CapCut you can just click and drag it to one side. Then go to the beginning of that clip and set a keyframe on position. Move the timeline marker to the end of the clip, then drag the image to another area of the shot. It will automatically set another keyframe for you. This will simulate a pan or tilt, making a static shot look a lot more real and engaging. One trick is to keep these types of movements relatively subtle to increase their believability, as well as how cinematic they actually look. The next thing we did was sound design. This is probably the most underrated step. Great sound design can sell a piece better than almost anything else. In fact, try listening to the trailer again with your eyes closed. If you still get the same feels and vibes without even seeing the visuals, that's how you know it worked. Our favorite trick is to just add a riser at the end of any intense sequence. This helps mark the climax of a scene and helps to perfectly frame your biggest moments. Another thing we did was add a timpani roll after the narration that also served as a sort of riser leading into the song to give it even more velocity and impact. Finally, we added Foley like the nuke explosion and the dinosaur roar, all in key moments to help sell the entire thing even more. To solidify the style we were going for, we went heavy on effects. CapCut has tons of unbelievable effects already built in that you can just add to your shots with the click of a button. We added things like film grain, color effects, distortion, lens dust, the works. One of the features we added is the film strip. This creates a letterbox over your footage. We then animated this using keyframes. Just go to the beginning of the clip with the film strip effect applied and set a keyframe next to size. Then go to the end of the clip and just drag the letterbox out of the frame. This will automatically create a new keyframe and this beautifully animated letterbox effect. We then added some stylistic color grading to the whole thing and a beautiful 8mm film grain to finish it all off. After adding the finishing touches, the only thing left to do was export.
It is said that long ago, the galaxy was once a peaceful and prosperous place. Ever since the fall, it has descended into chaos. Warlords, slavers, pirates, all manner of horrors now plague these lands. A select few were chosen by the old ones for one reason, to restore.
You can see the
order
full
to the
trailer
universe.
here. With CapCut and these tools, even people with no connections to big Hollywood studios can bring their ideas to life. If you want to try out CapCut for yourself, click the link in the description, and we'll see you in the next one.